The first warning came from the edge of the Orion Belt. Humanity didn't know it yet, but their greatest trial was about to begin. For years, humans had believed they were finally part of the Galactic Union, small, fragile, but respected for their determination. They traded, learned alien science, and even helped repair starships far older than Earth itself. But peace, as always, never lasts long for humanity. Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge of the UES Vanguard, watching the silent space ahead. He had fought pirates, raiders, even a few alien warlords, but what he saw now made his heart freeze. Hundreds of alien warships forming a wall of metal and light blocked the stars. Their weapons glowed like suns, ready to burn everything in their path. The Galactic Council had decided. Humanity was too dangerous, too unpredictable, too emotional. They called it a containment order, but everyone knew what it really was: banishment. Elias received the message directly from the Council's envoy. Humans are hereby exiled to the planet known as Carthion 5. Any attempt to leave will be seen as an act of war. Carthion 5. The name alone carried fear. No species had survived there for long. The planet was alive. Storms that tore apart ships, forests that hunted intruders, creatures that learned faster than any machine. To the aliens, it was the most lethal world in the galaxy. To them, it was a death sentence. The fleet had no choice. Thousands of ships, colonies, freighters, military vessels, jumped into hyperspace under escort, surrounded by enemy ships, ensuring they didn't escape. It felt less like a relocation and more like a funeral march. When the human fleet finally reached orbit around Carthion 5, they saw it. A massive, swirling sphere of gold and green clouds. Lightning crawling across its surface. Even from orbit, the storms looked alive. Every scan returned strange readings, energy signatures that didn't match any known pattern. The planet seemed to be watching them. "Landing zones are unstable," said Commander Rana Patel, Elias's second-in-command. "The atmosphere's changing by the minute. It's like the planet doesn't want us here." Elias stared at the glowing sphere. "Or maybe it's deciding what to do with us." The first landing crafts went down, carrying soldiers and engineers. The moment they entered the lower atmosphere, everything went wrong. Communications vanished. Energy systems overloaded. 2 ships were lost before reaching the surface. The survivors reported strange things: trees that moved without wind, mountains that shifted shape, and shadows that whispered. Still, humanity did what it always did. It adapted. They built shelters, set up power grids, and started mapping the terrain. Within days, they found resources: strange minerals, powerful energy sources, and water that could heal minor wounds. Carthion 5 was dangerous, but it was also rich, almost welcoming. But the aliens watching from orbit didn't see that. They saw the storms calm around human camps, the lightning stopping near their cities. They saw plants growing near human settlements, reshaping themselves to provide shelter. They saw the impossible. Carthion 5 was helping them survive. In the council chambers, panic spread. "The planet is reacting to them," one alien shouted. "It's bonding with humans." The council didn't understand it, but the planet did. Carthion 5 had chosen humanity. It sensed something within them, something that refused to break, something alive, untamed, and fierce. Weeks passed. Humans began exploring deeper into the jungles. They found ancient ruins, structures older than the galaxy itself, pulsing with the same energy that powered the storms. Some said the planet had once been home to a great intelligence, a mind that now slept beneath the surface. And slowly, humans started hearing whispers in their dreams. Captain Elias was the first to feel it clearly. One night, as lightning flashed across the sky, he heard a voice in his mind, calm, deep, almost human. "They cast you here to die. But I see you. I remember your kind." He woke in a cold sweat, heart racing. The voice wasn't a dream. It felt real, like the planet itself had spoken. The next morning, when he stepped outside his shelter, the storm that had raged all night stopped instantly. The air was warm, gentle. The trees around him seemed to bend slightly in his direction, as if acknowledging his presence. Soldiers nearby froze, staring. "Captain, the storm stopped when you came out," one whispered. Elias looked up at the golden clouds above. Something was changing. Carthion 5 was no longer the enemy. It was watching, listening, protecting. From that day, survival turned into transformation. Humans began to feel stronger, faster. The planet's strange energy flowed into their bodies, into their machines. They didn't just adapt to the world. They bonded with it. When the alien fleet returned months later to check if humanity had perished, they found cities glowing with strange light, defenses made of living metal, and skies filled with storm-born aircraft that moved like living creatures. Humanity had been banished to die, but Carthion 5 had made a different choice. It had made them part of itself, and the galaxy was about to learn that the deadliest world in the stars had just found its favorite species. The skies above Carthion 5 glowed like living fire. Every storm, every flash of lightning now seemed to pulse with a rhythm, a heartbeat that matched the rise and fall of human life below. The planet was no longer just a world. It was a living presence, and humanity had become part of it. Captain Elias Ward stood at the edge of a cliff overlooking the new colony, named Haven 1. It wasn't like any human city before. The buildings weren't built, they grew. Walls of metallic vines formed shelters that repaired themselves when damaged. The streets pulsed faintly with blue light powered by the planet's living energy. What had once been wild chaos was now controlled harmony. "Reports from the Western Outpost, sir," Commander Rana Patel said, handing him a data pad. "More signs of integration. The soil responds to our machines now. The planet seems to want us to build." Elias nodded slowly. "It's adapting to us. Or maybe it's teaching us how to live with it." But not everyone felt at peace. Some of the soldiers whispered that the planet was changing them. Mind, body, even soul. Dreams of golden light and deep voices haunted the colonists. Some claimed to see shapes moving beneath the ground, like veins carrying the world's lifeblood. That night, the dreams came again. Elias saw vast oceans of light flowing beneath Carthion 5's surface. In the center, a colossal shape rested, a being of pure energy sleeping but aware. He heard its voice deep and echoing in his thoughts. "You are different from the others. They came to conquer. You came to survive. I see your pain, your fire. You are mine now as I am yours." When he woke, his hands were glowing faintly with the same golden light. He wasn't alone. Others across the colony experienced the same thing. Their eyes shimmered, their reflexes sharpened, their connection to the planet deepened. Carthion 5 wasn't just keeping them alive, it was merging with them. Within weeks, new technology appeared, things no human had invented. Power generators that needed no fuel, vehicles that glided over any terrain, weapons that grew stronger the longer they were used. The scientists couldn't explain it. "It's like the planet reads our thoughts and creates what we need," one of them said, trembling. The Alien Council, watching from distant space, saw these changes and grew afraid. They had exiled humanity to die, not to evolve, and now humans were thriving in ways the galaxy had never seen. "They are becoming something else," one of the alien leaders said. "Something beyond control." A decision was made. The Council dispatched a fleet to observe Carthion 5 again, but everyone knew what it meant. They were coming to erase the last of humanity before it became a threat. On Carthion 5, the skies darkened days before the fleet's arrival. The storms grew silent. The air was heavy, charged. The planet knew what was coming. Elias gathered his commanders in the central hall, a massive structure formed from living metal and roots that glowed softly under their feet. "They're coming," he said quietly. "The same ones who banished us. They can't allow us to exist like this." Commander Patel's eyes narrowed. "Then we show them what we've become." Outside, the ground trembled. The forest shifted like an army preparing for war. Mountains moved, revealing enormous shapes beneath, metallic creatures born from the planet's core, their bodies glowing with energy. As the alien fleet entered orbit, their sensors screamed warnings. Power levels on Carthion 5 were off the scale. The planet itself seemed to be alive and awake. The first alien ship fired a warning shot. It never landed. The beam vanished in midair, swallowed by the clouds. A second later, a bolt of golden lightning erupted from the surface, cutting through space and tearing the ship apart. The explosion lit the night sky like dawn. The humans watched in awe. The planet had defended them. Elias looked up as the voice echoed once more in his mind, stronger now, resonating with every heartbeat around him. "They cast you away because they feared your strength. Now you will show them why they were right to fear." As the alien fleet descended, the humans and the planet stood together, not as exiles or victims, but as one living force. The ground itself began to rise, forming massive towers and defensive platforms. Living metal flowed like rivers, shaping into war machines that waited for orders. The humans didn't just fight for survival anymore, they were fighting for their place in the galaxy, and Carthion 5 was ready to fight with them. The alien armada appeared in orbit like a curtain of fire and steel. Hundreds of warships, massive, silver and cold, filled the sky above Carthion 5. Their engines burned with power drawn from entire suns, their weapons capable of destroying moons. To the Galactic Council, this was not a war. It was an extermination. Captain Elias Ward stood at the command center of Haven 1, staring at the holographic display of the incoming fleet. His people gathered around him, soldiers, engineers, scientists, all waiting for his word. The room glowed softly, the light pulsing with the same rhythm as the storms outside. The planet was listening. Commander Rana Patel's voice broke the silence. "Sir, they're hailing us." "Should we respond?" Elias looked at her and shook his head. "No. We already know what they want to say." The message still came through, a cold, formal transmission from the Council's High Admiral. "This is your final warning. Humanity's presence on Carthion 5 violates every galactic law. Surrender and we will grant a swift end. Resist and your world will be erased." The signal ended. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Elias turned toward the massive window overlooking the living city. "We won't surrender," he said simply. Outside, the air shimmered with energy. The trees moved as if a silent wind passed through them. The golden glow beneath the ground pulsed brighter. The planet had heard his words, and it was answering. From the forest, giant shapes began to rise. Towers of metal and root twisted into form, beasts of war made of living steel, their eyes burning with golden fire. They moved slowly at first, then faster, their movements synchronized with the heartbeat of the planet. Human engineers and soldiers climbed aboard, linking their minds to the machines through strange neural bands the planet had created. No one truly understood how they worked, but when they wore them, they could feel the planet's will guiding them. It wasn't control, it was unity. As the alien fleet fired its first volley, the sky turned red. Plasma beams cut through the clouds, exploding across the surface. But the energy didn't destroy. It vanished into the storm clouds, absorbed and redirected by the planet's magnetic field. Then, the counterattack began. Lightning ripped from the clouds in long, precise arcs, striking enemy ships. Human-built fighters, half organic and half machine, launched from the city, glowing wings slicing through the storm. They didn't use fuel. They moved on thought, guided by the planet's energy and human willpower. The first alien cruiser went down in flames, ripped apart by a spear of living lightning. The humans cheered as the wreckage fell through the atmosphere, burning like a comet. Elias's voice echoed through the command network. "All units, hold formation. We protect the planet and it protects us." On the ground, the massive living machines marched forward, launching beams of light that cut through the enemy dropships trying to land. The planet's surface itself rose in defense, mountains shifting to block bombardments, rivers glowing with energy, deflecting plasma blasts like living shields. In orbit, panic spread among the alien fleet. "It's impossible," one officer shouted. "The planet's generating power beyond any known limit." Another voice replied, trembling. "It's alive. The planet is alive and it's fighting back." But even with all its power, Carthion 5 could not protect every human. Some outposts were hit, fires burned, lives were lost. And in those moments of pain, the planet seemed to rage. The skies darkened, lightning screamed louder, and a voice filled every human mind. "They hurt my children. They will know my fury." The ground cracked open, and from beneath the surface rose colossal pillars of golden crystal, firing pure energy into the sky. Dozens of alien ships were vaporized in seconds. What had begun as an invasion had turned into chaos. Elias watched it all from the command deck. "We're not just surviving," he whispered. "We're winning." But even as victory neared, he knew it wasn't over. The Council had only sent one fleet, there would be more. The galaxy would not accept humanity's rise easily. As the last enemy cruiser exploded in orbit, silence fell. The storms faded into gentle light. Carthion 5 was calm again. The people of Haven 1 looked up at the clear sky and cheered. They had done the impossible. They had defeated a galactic fleet on a world meant to kill them. Yet, far beyond the system, in the Council's grand chamber, the leaders of 100 species watched the defeat in horror. The human threat had grown beyond exile. The planet is not just protecting them, said one alien, trembling. It's empowering them. The High Chancellor leaned forward, voice low and grim. Then we will bring everything we have. If Carthion 5 stands with them, we will burn the planet to ash. And in that moment, across the stars, the planet stirred again, as if it had heard their words. Deep below its surface, something ancient began to wake. The days after the battle were strangely quiet. The skies of Carthion 5 were calm, the storms soft and glowing instead of violent and wild. The people of Haven 1 moved through the new silence carefully, as if afraid to wake something ancient that now slept just beneath their feet. Captain Elias Ward stood at the edge of the city walls, watching the horizon. The golden clouds had parted, letting shafts of light touch the rebuilt towers. It almost looked peaceful. But Elias couldn't shake the feeling that this calm was only the beginning of something much larger. Commander Rana Patel joined him. "We've recovered all the survivors," she said. "The planet helped us again. The wounded are healing faster than normal. It's like the ground itself gives strength." Elias nodded, but his eyes were distant. "It's giving more than strength. It's giving us purpose." That night the dreams returned. Elias found himself standing in a vast hall of light, deep beneath the planet's surface. The walls pulsed with soft energy, and in the center stood a shape, tall, formless, but radiant. When it spoke, the sound wasn't heard with ears, but felt in the heart. "You have fought well, children of Earth. You have proven your worth." Elias took a step forward. "Who are you?" "I am what remains of this world's heart. Once I was called Carthion, the mind of life. I was guardian of balance, protector of creation. But long ago I slept, until your kind awakened me." Elias's voice trembled. "Why us? Why help humans?" The light shifted, and he felt warmth wash over him like sunlight through his soul. "Because you are like me, born in chaos, forged in struggle, refusing to die. The others fear you, but I see truth. You were banished here to perish, yet you endure. That is what I was created to protect." The vision faded. Elias woke with a sharp breath, his heart pounding. Around him, others were waking too. Engineers, soldiers, even civilians, each whispering about a dream filled with the same voice. The planet hadn't spoken just to him. It had spoken to all of them. By morning, the colony gathered in the central plaza. The ground glowed faintly, and a deep vibration pulsed through the air. Then a holographic form rose from the ground, an image of pure golden light shaped like a human figure, calm and vast. It spoke in a voice that echoed in every mind. "Humans of Earth, you have awakened me. I am Carthion, the guardian of this world. Together we are now one. But the storm is not over. The council gathers their strength. They come not for justice, but for fear." Elias stepped forward. "Then we fight again." Carthion's voice softened. "You cannot face them as you are. You must learn to use what I have given you. The bond between us is young, but it will grow. I will teach you how to awaken the power that sleeps in your blood." For the next weeks, the planet trained them. It wasn't training in the human sense, no weapons, no drills. Instead, it taught through instinct. The humans learned to move with the rhythm of the storms, to channel energy through thought and emotion. Their machines became extensions of themselves, alive, responsive, almost sentient. Rana discovered she could command the living metals to reshape themselves. Engineers learned to grow weapons instead of building them. Soldiers felt the planet's energy flow through their veins, amplifying their strength. Humanity was evolving, fast. But as their power grew, so did the tension. Some were afraid. "We're changing too much," one officer said. "What if we stop being human?" Elias looked at the glowing sky and answered quietly. "Maybe being human means surviving no matter what we become." Far above, hidden beyond the stars, the Galactic Council prepared its new weapon. Dozens of fleets gathered, thousands of ships from every corner of known space, the largest armada in galactic history. Their goal was clear: destroy Carthion 5 before it spread its power beyond control. Back on the planet, Carthion felt the disturbance. The storms darkened once again and lightning crawled across the horizon. "They are coming," the voice whispered through every mind. "And this time they will not stop." Elias stood before his people, his voice firm but calm. "Then we show them that exile made us stronger. We don't run, we don't beg, we stand. For Earth, for Carthion 5, for every life that fought to survive." All around him, the city lit up in response. The ground hummed, the air thick with energy. The bond between humans and the planet was complete. They were no longer guests. They were the guardians now, and deep beneath the surface, the true heart of Carthion 5 began to awaken, vast and ancient, its power older than the stars. The war for the galaxy was no longer between species. It was between life itself and those who feared it. The warning came like a whisper in the wind. The skies of Carthion 5 turned crimson, the air heavy with energy that made the ground tremble. Every human on the planet felt it at once. The storm of war was returning. From orbit, the first signals appeared, thousands of ships emerging from hyperspace. The Galactic Council had united every major species in one cause, to destroy Carthion 5 and erase humanity forever. The fleet stretched across the void like a metal storm, blotting out the stars. In the command center of Haven 1, Captain Elias Ward watched the readings on the holo display. It was worse than he imagined. 37 fleets, he muttered. Over 2,000 capital ships. They didn't come to win, they came to end us. Commander Rana Patel stood beside him, calm but focused. Then we don't let them. Carthion chose us for a reason. We fight with the planet now. Outside, the people of Carthion 5 prepared for battle. The living metal towers glowed with golden light. The forests moved like armies, their roots forming walls and weapons. Rivers began to flow upward, turning into streams of energy. The entire planet was awakening, every heartbeat synchronized with the humans who now called it home. Then came the voice, soft but powerful, echoing in every mind. They fear what they do not understand. They bring fire to silence life, but we will show them the power of unity. It was Carthion, the ancient mind of the planet. Its voice gave strength to all who heard it. The alien fleet began its attack. From orbit, plasma beams fell like rain, turning the upper atmosphere into fire. Explosions rocked the surface, tearing craters into the ground, but the planet responded instantly. Mountains rose to block the strikes. Molten rivers hardened into shields. Lightning struck upward, hitting ships miles above with pinpoint accuracy. Human and planet fought as one. Elias took command of the defense forces. "Activate the Sky Guardians," he shouted. From the heart of the city, massive living warships emerged, part metal, part organic, shaped by human design and the planet's will. Their wings shimmered with gold and blue, their engines pulsing with the energy of Carthion 5 itself. They soared into the sky, moving faster than light itself, engaging the alien fleet head-on. The first wave of alien cruisers fell within minutes, but the enemy kept coming. For every ship destroyed, 10 more appeared. The Council's determination was absolute. On the ground, Commander Rana led the defense lines. She controlled the living metals with her thoughts, commanding them to form blades, shields, and armor. Human soldiers moved in perfect coordination, guided by the planet's rhythm. Every fallen warrior released a burst of energy that returned to the Earth, strengthening those who remained. The battle raged for hours. The skies burned gold and red, lightning clashing with plasma, mountains collapsing and rising again. The humans fought like legends, small fragile creatures defying an empire that spanned galaxies. In the chaos, the Council's flagship appeared. It was massive, larger than a city, armed with weapons capable of splitting planets. At its center, a pulse cannon began to charge, a weapon of pure destruction. One shot could vaporize Carthion 5 entirely. The voice of Carthion echoed again, deeper now, carrying the weight of ancient sorrow. They seek to unmake life itself. If that cannon fires, I will not survive. Elias's voice was firm. Then we stop it. Tell me what to do. Go to the heart. The core of Carthion lies beneath this city. There we become one. Only through unity can we stand against such power. Without hesitation, Elias and Rana led a team deep into the ground. The tunnels glowed brighter the deeper they went, the air alive with energy. Finally, they reached a vast chamber where the planet's heart pulsed, a sphere of golden light humming like the heartbeat of the world. Elias stepped forward. If we do this, what happens to us? You will no longer be apart from me, the voice said softly. You will become me. Rana glanced at him, eyes steady. We started this together, Captain. Let's finish it. They reached out their hands, touching the glowing surface. Instantly, their bodies filled with light. The chamber exploded with energy, flooding the planet with power. Above, the alien armada's sensors went wild. Power readings spiked beyond comprehension. Then from the surface, a colossal wave of golden energy burst into space. Every human, every living thing on Carthion 5 glowed with the same light. The charging cannon aboard the Council flagship fired. A blinding beam of destruction shot toward the planet, but before it could strike, the golden energy met it head-on. For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Then the beam shattered like glass. The energy wave tore through the fleet, disabling ships, melting weapons, and silencing engines. The sky turned white with brilliance as the alien armada broke apart. Ships fled in panic, their systems useless against the storm of living power. When the light faded, Carthion 5 still stood, scarred, smoking but alive. In the command center, humans stared at the sky in disbelief. The enemy fleet was gone, but Elias Ward and Rana Patel were nowhere to be found. Only their voices remained echoing softly in the wind. We are here. Always. As long as this world breathes, humanity lives on. The people bowed their heads, realizing what had happened. Their leaders hadn't died. They had become part of the planet itself. Carthion 5 was now fully awake, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The war was over, or so it seemed. The skies above Carthion 5 were quiet for the first time in months. The once red clouds now glowed with soft gold, drifting peacefully across a planet that had survived the impossible. Yet in that silence, every human could feel something new. The planet was alive in a different way now. It pulsed with steady rhythm, calm but powerful, like a sleeping giant breathing beneath their feet. For 3 days after the final battle, there were no orders, no drills, no alarms. People simply stood under the open sky trying to believe that they had won. Fields that had been scorched in war began to heal. Metal ruins melted back into soil. Rivers ran clear again, their waters shimmering with faint light. The planet was repairing itself and them. In the center of Haven 1, a monument was raised, not of stone or metal but of living crystal that grew upward on its own, shaped by thought and memory. 2 figures stood intertwined at the top, Elias Ward and Rana Patel, captains who had given themselves to save humanity. Their faces were serene, their eyes closed, their forms glowing faintly with golden light. Every night when the stars appeared, the people heard their voices faintly in the wind. Not commands, not warnings, just words of comfort. You are not alone. We stand with you. And they were right. Carthion 5 was no longer just a world. It was part of humanity, and humanity was part of it. The people discovered they could speak to the planet without words. The trees responded to emotion. The air carried whispers of thought. Machines grew instead of being built, designed through willpower and guided by the planet's memory. Children born after the war were different. Their eyes glowed faintly in the dark, their skin resonating with the hum of the planet's energy. They could feel the storms before they came, hear the songs of the earth beneath their feet. These were the first planet-born, humans touched by Carthion 5's living spirit. Under the leadership of the Planet-Born Council, humanity began rebuilding, not just to survive, but to grow. They constructed new cities across the surface, each one harmonized with nature and powered by the living core. Energy was limitless, pollution impossible, hunger forgotten, yet even in peace, they remembered the stars. The galaxy still watches us, said Council Speaker Mara Lin, standing before the gathered citizens. They fear what we've become. But we will not hide. We will show them what unity between life and will can create. Carthion 5 heard her words. Deep beneath the surface, the golden core pulsed brighter, responding with approval. New starships were born, not built, but grown from the planet's living matter. Their hulls shimmered with light, smooth and alive, each connected to the will of its pilot. They called them symbionts. These ships could heal, think, and even feel. For the first time in history, humanity didn't just travel space. They carried a piece of home with them wherever they went. The first expedition left orbit 1 year later. The Unity, commanded by Captain Jalen Ward, the son of Elias Ward, rose into the sky with thousands watching below. As the ship ascended through the golden clouds, its engine sang with the rhythm of the planet's pulse. Father, Jalen whispered, looking out into the stars. We're ready to finish what you started. When the Unity entered hyperspace, the golden glow of Carthion 5 followed it like a trail of light. Across the galaxy, alien sensors detected the signal and trembled. The humans were not only alive, they were returning to the stars stronger than ever. In distant council worlds, fear spread like wildfire. Old leaders met in silence. They have bonded with the planet itself, one whispered. If they expand, no force will stop them. But others quietly began to wonder. The humans had survived exile, destruction, and betrayal. Yet they had not become monsters. They had built peace, not vengeance. Some species, inspired by their story, began to question the Council's rule. Whispers spread. Maybe humanity wasn't the threat. Maybe they were the hope. Back on Carthion 5, the storms of light danced across the night sky. The people gathered beneath them, their faces lit by the glow of their living world. In the distance, the voice of Carthion echoed softly, proud and eternal. They feared your fire, but you learned to give warmth instead of destruction. You are the bridge between creation and chaos. You are the children of survival. Elias's voice joined it faintly, calm and strong. And this is only the beginning. The humans looked toward the stars, no longer exiles or wanderers. They had been banished to die, but the galaxy's deadliest world had chosen them, reshaped them, and now stood with them as one. Carthion 5, once feared as a planet of death, had become the birthplace of a new age, the age of the human world. Years passed, and the legend of the human world spread like fire through the stars. Carthion 5 had become a shining beacon, its golden light visible from neighboring systems. Humanity, once feared and abandoned, now thrived beyond imagination. Their ships, living extensions of their world, moved through space like streams of light. Wherever they went, they brought life, healing, and balance. But not everyone welcomed their return. The Galactic Council, the same body that had exiled them years ago, watched in fear. Their fleets gathered in silence, their leaders whispering of containment and control. They feared that if humanity's influence grew, the old power structure would collapse forever. On the edge of council space, a massive meeting was called. Representatives from 100 species filled the great chamber. An ocean of faces, all turned toward one glowing image, Earth's descendants now united with Carthion 5. Approaching the heart of the galaxy, the council's High Chancellor rose. They bring infection, he thundered. Their world has corrupted them. They no longer obey the laws of the stars. If they spread, there will be no end. But before his words could echo away, a vast ripple of light appeared across the chamber sky. It wasn't a weapon, it was a projection. The face of Captain Jalen Ward appeared, calm and determined. Behind him, the living ship Unity shimmered like a heartbeat of gold. Members of the council, Jalen said softly. We were cast out to die on a world no one could survive. Yet we did not die. The planet you feared became our ally, our teacher, and our home. We return not for revenge, but to show you what we have become. The chamber trembled. Some leaned forward in awe, others in anger. The High Chancellor sneered. You expect us to believe you are peaceful? You come armed with ships grown from living matter. Abominations. Jalen's eyes glowed faintly, the mark of Carthion's gift. We learned something your council forgot. Life adapts, life unites. We didn't create weapons. We created harmony. Our world breathes with us. We build, not destroy. A deep silence followed. But in that stillness, another voice spoke. A familiar, ancient tone that none expected. It was Carthion, the planet itself, speaking through the galactic network. For eons, your kind divided life from power. You built empires on fear, yet here stands a species you sought to erase, reborn not as conquerors but as guardians. The humans have become the heart of balance. The Council's systems flickered as Carthion's presence spread like light through every communication channel, every screen, every thought. Worlds across the galaxy paused, listening. Images appeared of humans rebuilding Carthion's jungles, healing wounded creatures, creating peace between machine and life. And then images of the Council's destruction, burned worlds, silenced colonies, abandoned races. The truth was undeniable. The High Chancellor shouted in desperation, "This is manipulation. They seek control." But his own people turned against him. The alien delegates rose one by one and began to speak in unison. The humans were exiled for being dangerous, said one, but they became protectors. They were denied mercy, said another, yet they offer it freely. Jalen lowered his head. We didn't come to rule you. We came to remind you what life can become when fear no longer decides who lives and dies. At that moment, Unity opened a shimmering gate in the void, a bridge of golden energy linking the Galactic Council's world to Carthion 5. Through it, the counselors could see the planet's living forests, glowing oceans, and cities that pulsed with life instead of metal. "Step through," Jalen said. "See the world that chose us. Learn what you once feared to understand." The first to cross was a young alien scholar, then another. Soon hundreds followed, walking into the light. They returned in tears, their hearts changed by what they had seen. A world alive, breathing in harmony with its people. The High Chancellor, left alone, stared into the portal and whispered, "What are you?" Jalen answered softly, "We are what you made us, only better." The Chancellor turned away, his power gone, and the old council crumbled. In its place, a new alliance was formed, not ruled by fear but by unity. Humanity was no longer an outcast race. They were its leaders, its guides, its guardians. Years later, children of many species would travel to Carthion 5 to learn its ways. They would sit beneath the glowing trees, hearing the stories of Elias Ward and Rana Patel, the heroes who gave everything for their people. And at night, when the stars shimmered, Carthion's voice would whisper across the galaxy. They were banished to die, but the planet chose them. And through them, the stars learned to live again. The golden light of Carthion 5 spread through space, a living beacon that reached every corner of the galaxy. Humanity had not just survived their exile, they had transformed it into the dawn of a new age. An age not of conquest, but of connection.